proud. Ain't no flash in the pan. Ain't no temporary shit. Nothing happened overnight. Built it brick by brick. My fans really fuck with me. My girl fell in love with me. My boys really down for me. Now they really gon' be Ain't no flash in the pan. Ain't no temporary shit. Nothing happened overnight.
What's good, everybody?
Yo, 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 yo. Special guest in the building.
Oh, yeah. Nobody epic here.
How's it going, everyone?
What's good? We have a lot to talk about today as far as hip-hop albums go.
Hip-hop in a very exciting place. King Cole is back, Cole World. No blanket.
Let's start right off with that, I think. Let's just get right into it. Because I know we all listened to the album, and if you didn't, you're kicked out of the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm good, then.
I know Joel was texting me before the album dropped. He was going back in the J. Cole discography.
Made a Spotify playlist.
Digging through Dat Piff.
I only got like 2 viruses doing it.
I was too lazy to do that. You texted me that, and I really wanted to go back and like find that shit, and I was like, nah, I'm too lazy. So I just found what I could. What the fuck?
I texted him this playlist that I made on Spotify, and he's like, "Oh, sick! They put his old mixtapes on Spotify." I was like, "Fuck, no, they didn't.
Yeah.
I worked for it, man. I got on that bed. What are you talking about?"
I just saw the Spotify thing, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I've been listening to this one. This is on Spotify under King Cole."
I didn't even go back to the King Cole stuff.
This shit is fire. But yeah,
Under
his old
King
shit.
Cole?
What, is this like 2005?
This was like
It had to be before the come up, right?
no. I think this one was like they put it under like a alias, like King Cole with 2 E's
clearly.
and like whatever. But it's got, you remember Show Me Something?
Mm-hmm.
It's got all these on it. But oh shit, overload.
It doesn't matter. We're demonetized.
But no, it made me remember how dope his old shit was. But yeah, I guess to the new album, I thought it was fucking fire.
Yeah, I thought it was. It was weird though, because I do think that Forest Hills Drive was my favorite still. But
See, you're gonna go right there already.
yes, because it's tough for me. I'm already seeing how I can't judge albums anymore because I already have too much of a bias towards certain albums.
Yes.
And I can't just listen to them like they're new. It's just
Like you always have to
impossible.
compare.
I always have to. And it drives me insane because I know that I'm doing that, but I can't help it. And as an artist, that even drives me insane more because I hate when people do that with our shit. But I get why. I get why it happens. But
So where would you rank it on J. Cole albums?
I have my ranking. I wrote it down in my notes where I would rank certain things.
Okay. Do you
Man,
include
you already-
mixtapes or just albums?
I included mixtapes, but I also rank mixtapes lower because the thing I like about albums is, and I feel like we're in an era where people they kind of conflate a mixtape with an album, but I do think an album is something you take your time with, and you want to have a message and a story. And a mixtape is literally, you could just rap over other people's beats, you could just kind of experiment with stuff. So I put the threshold of making an album is higher than a mixtape usually. So whereas I usually will like mixtapes more sometimes. I like Chance the Rapper's mixtape more than Acid Rap more than anything else he's put out. And a lot of people say about J. Cole, they like Friday Night Lights or The Warm Up more than a lot of his albums. But I rank albums higher because of the threshold I feel like you have to pass.
Yeah. So let's hear your rank.
Okay.
I didn't get into the mixtapes, but he has 4 albums, right?
Yes.
So if I had to rank the albums right now, mine would be Forest Hills Drive 1, KOD 2, Sideline Story 3, Born Center 4.
That's incredible to me.
Yeah. But obviously, I don't like a couple days later trying to throw his newest album in a ranking list. So I reserve the right to let that fluctuate a spot up or down depending on its longevity to me.
He has 5 albums, I think.
What am I missing?
He has Cole World,
Sideline Story,
Born Center. Yeah, Sideline Story.
Well, same, yeah.
Born Center, Forest Hills Drive,
KOD.
For Your Eyes Only, and KOD.
Oh, For Your Eyes Only.
Eyes
Yeah,
Only,
I wasn't. Yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah.
That would be near the bottom. It would be 4 or 5.
I need to pull my rankings.
I don't like it as a whole, that much, but I love Neighbors. I might have to rank it 5, honestly, just as a whole.
So run down your ranking.
Forest Hills, KOD, Sideline Story, Born Sinner, For Your Eyes Only.
I didn't even put KOD in my rankings, but I know what spot it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Forest Hills 1 for you.
Yeah.
You already said that.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, what are you putting next?
It's tough.
And we forgot to. I mean, you guys have said it in other pods, but mega J. Cole fan.
Yeah. So
And you're less.
I'm
but
like-
still like him.
But I still I'm a big fan, I would say, but
Yeah.
I'm not as big of a fan.
right.
Yeah. Definitely.
Think about it. Let's have Joel give his rundown, and you think, or do we not want Matt's opinion sullied with others' opinions?
No, you guys can go ahead. I'm not going to let that sully my
You're not gonna
opinion.
lie.
Well, I was excited when you invited me on the pod because I thought that Matt was going to dislike the J. Cole, and we were going to have to, because I'm a
We were
pretty
gonna
big
get to
J.
battle
Cole
him?
fan as well. Yeah.
You want to know what's hilarious about that is I put the intro on and I was like, God damn it, I'm going to hate this freaking album. And I don't know what it is because it doesn't have like as huge of replay value to me as like something like Forest Hills Drive did. But I guess that's the reason why I'm kind of like not sold on J. Cole is because he makes good albums, but I don't ever find myself replaying a shit ton of shit from him.
See,
The only-
I want to go down that road.
The only stuff that I have, a lot of it is from Forest Hills Drive.
Well, let me give me your rankings first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was kind of surprised in that I did not like the album as much as I thought I did, and I'm kind of frustrated with it because, and you guys know more about music production than me. I may be a simpleton as a music fan, and some of my criticisms of the album may speak to my simpleness.
But it's
or
about what
something.
you like. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
doesn't matter how simple it is.
Well, one of my biggest frustrations is that, and this is kind of a stupid criticism, but one of the criticisms about J. Cole on the internet is that he's boring. You kind of speak to like the replay value. I mean, a lot of his songs work to get better as a cohesive unit than as singles.
Yeah.
And I just thought a lot of the beats on this album, they kind of sounded like garage band beats. Like I don't know. I was listening to it in comparison to other recent albums. This is kind of a hard threshold to compare it against, but I think so much of J. Cole that I compare him against Kendrick Lamar, and like you said, you shouldn't compare, but even the kind of the slower stuff on Damn, kind of interesting in terms of production value and what went into it. And I like the themes that J. Cole has. I like what he's speaking about. I mean, clearly it's something that means a lot to him. He's spoken in his music about his mom being an addict, and he released an anti-drug album on 420, a day that's really celebratory about drugs in the United States. And I just think it's cool that he has substance, and I appreciate it. But if I don't enjoy the music so much, I don't know if the message means anything, and I can't see myself listening to any song off this album past just listening to the album in its entirety to talk about this.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like, and first impressions are rarely lasting impressions with me as far as music goes. I remember hating 808s and Heartbreak when Kanye put it out, and then I, over time, have like really appreciated it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was really frustrated. And my album rankings are different than yours, too. I have Born Sinner as a strong one. Then
what?
Hills.
Wait.
I genuinely do. I think Born Sinner is his best.
Okay,
work.
we'll talk.
Really?
We'll get into this.
I have Born Sinner 1, Forest Hills Drive 2, and I would put For Your Eyes Only over KOD probably.
Wow. So me and you really disagree.
Yeah, and he gets a lot of credit for producing his own stuff, but now I'm wondering if he should like work with other producers, because he's produced his last 4 albums, and and like For Your Eyes Only was a little bit sleepy, but some of the beats on this, I'm like, man, he needs like a No ID or something. He needs, like as Kanye went on in his career, I'm comparing to Kanye, but I think you need to diversify your sound. Maybe you need to bring other people in, because I don't know.
Okay, so in general, as far as the production goes, I agree with you on, I think a guy that produces his own stuff, though coming up, it's super dope, a fresh sound. You recognize how talented he is. I do agree as you go in your career, you need to start collabing with other producers more because it can get monotonous. But where I disagree is, I think Like Forest Hills Drive production was amazing. I thought it was amazing.
No, I agree with
And
that.
then this one, I didn't think was actually very J. Cole-y. I thought it was very trap heavy. A lot of trap drums in this one, and
On 1985 for sure.
like I didn't necessarily hear, if J. Cole's voice wasn't on this, I didn't necessarily hear J. Cole production for sure. On certain songs, yeah. But overall, not necessarily. I think, honestly, Born Sinner, ironically enough, even though it's not my favorite and it is yours, I think Born Sinner almost was one of J. Cole's most J. Cole production albums.
Yeah.
But what did you say your rank was, though? Did you give the whole rundown?
Yeah, I had Born Sinner
Yeah.
1.
Oh yeah, you did the albums, yeah. Okay, and you had Born Sinner, Forest Hills Drive.
And I more have Born Sinner 1 for the when I want to listen to every song all the way through on an album. I think that says something. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I just like every song. And I can listen to them as individual songs, and I like listening to all of them together, except I kind of skip like 3 in the middle. I don't really like, I go from Trouble straight to, I don't know, the Chainy Day or the one before.
I was going to say, can I put you on the spot on Born Sinner and say, like, what's your like top 5 on there?
Top 5 songs?
Yeah. Do you need a list?
No,
Okay.
I can picture it.
Okay.
I would go, okay, I like Chaining Day, everything with Chaining Day, and then it goes Ain't That Some Shit interlude, and then Crooked Smile. I like that whole run from right there. And Born Sinner, the last song, and I like how the last song leads into the first song, although the intro I don't like as much as the outro. I really like the outro, and it is a J. Cole production.
Yeah, it is.
It authentically sounds like it was produced, and I think that was he had a very weak debut in my mind. I would put Sideline Story below KOD, but that his debut was weak for a reason, because his debut was technically Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Rock Nation didn't think that he could sell as an artist, so he got his debut album delayed multiple times. Friday Night Lights, the mixtape, is essentially his debut album. He even takes, for his debut album, he took Lights Please off of the warm-up and the In the Morning song with Drake off of Friday Night Lights. So he's had kind of an interesting run as a solo artist, and I think he's gotten better and better as time goes on, which I really appreciate. Normally with artists, you have a really strong debut, and then it's kind of, I mean, especially if they get famous, it's because they had a strong debut, and then they're trying to
Recapture
top that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's why I appreciated his sophomore project so much, because it was so authentically him, and it seems like in his second effort he found his sound, and I could see days where I put Forest Hills Drive over it, because I do like Forest Hills Drive. I just like the Born Sinner better as a whole, but if I had to rank the songs, yeah, that'd be pretty much what I said.
Okay. This is how I picture like J. Cole's, not including his early mixtapes, how I like look at his album, his discography career. I think I agree with you on, I mean, it's not even anything, it's a fact. His Friday Night Lights was like what he created kind of to be his debut album, and like
It was supposed to be.
right. And so I definitely Cold World, Sideline Story. I feel like that one definitely had a feel of let's get some hits. Let's grab some of your popular stuff from your old stuff. Let's get a couple features.
Right.
Like he's got that Trey Songz one. But I still like that song. I still I love, obviously, Lights Please, and the bottom line is they're on that album. And then I look at that album as a whole, still one of my favorite J. Cole songs of all time, Nobody's Perfect with Missy Elliott. That's off his very first album. Like I said, he had Lights Please on there. I didn't like the Mr. Nice Watch with Jay-Z. I thought that was a horrible usage of Jay-Z on a J. Cole song. Like they could make something that's, you can literally hear it right now, but that's not what you would think. The Cold World joint, this joint,
I think it's gonna
this was hard.
hell of a night.
Yeah.
He had the In the Morning one with Drake. Lost Ones. Never Told was awesome. Like the whole run, the end run of Never Told, Rise and Shine, God's Gift, Breakdown on that album, I just thought was awesome. So I thought his first project was really good, but it definitely like was a bit more commercial than Born Sinner.
And I did go into listening to his first project knowing that Friday Night Lights was supposed to be his, because that was really when I was heavily on the hip hop blogs. So I feel like it's maybe permanently stained my opinion of the album.
Okay.
Thinking, I don't know what his process was going into Friday Night Lights, but while I do like, especially the one with Trey Songz, like is it the islandy sounding one where
Yeah, Can't Get Enough.
Yeah, and I can't really, to be honest, I can't really remember a lot of the songs on the end of the album. But
so it's like this
a
one
lot
was
of this
never
does
told.
sound. Do you think?
The game, the objective, trying to score.
Yeah.
You got a wife, you
And then Rise and Shine.
That's good.
cold, blowing your mind. Hey, dummy, this no accident.
No beats like this on KOD. No. I gotta say, was that a no ID beat? Didn't hear any of those on KOD.
No.
Trust me.
Or 4 Year Olds Only.
And then Breakdown. I thought that was tight too.
And this may be an incorrect opinion, but
No such thing.
to me, Sideline Story, that seems like he got some help with it. And the last four, I could see him doing mostly himself, getting some outside influence or bouncing things off of people. But that, I guess that is, like I said, I think authentic J. Cole starts from, I mean, obviously mixtapes. If you're putting out mixtapes,
Right.
they're mostly yours. But maybe I kind of rank it down. Sideline Story I'm talking about because I think of it as kind of like a label curated album because they saw how well his mixtape did. I mean, what was Right In It Lights is that it's one of the most downloaded mixtapes of all time. I think still it was crazy. I remember it being a huge downloaded thing.
It's funny, just a difference of opinion, because the way you talked about Born Sinner in comparison to KOD, how you were like Born Sinner has more replay value, and I think Mo, you were kind of even agreeing you thought KOD didn't have necessarily a lot of replay value. I look at it completely opposite. I thought Born Sinner was a very cool album as a whole, kind of like how, not the same because there's different reasons, but like To Pimp a Butterfly to me, very cool album as a whole, not a whole lot I go back and listen to. I think that with Born Sinner to me. Very cool album as a whole, felt like J. Cole, a little dark, but not much on there that I go back and play.
What are you going to listen to on KOD after?
Like, that's what I was going to get into that.
I'm interested to hear.
So I like, honestly, and this makes me feel like I'm being prisoner of the moment.
No.
But I was listening to it this morning. I was driving back here from Grand Rapids this morning, and there was, okay, so let's forget the intro, and then there's an interlude. So forget the intro and the interlude, there's 10 songs.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 2 of those that don't have replay value to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I disagree.
I don't know if there's 2 to me that have I guess I like Brackets and Windowpin, and
Brackets is one that doesn't have replay value to me.
Brackets spoke.
I love it. I love it. I love it on the album. I love the concept. I'm not, and that's why I like this album so much. I'm not saying by any means I don't like Brackets. I'm just saying I'm not going and putting it on in my car and listening to it.
And to me, Brackets, when I was thinking to myself, Brackets is one of the songs that has replay value to me. That was like me saying to myself, well, you're a simple music fan because the chorus is literally whoa, 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 yeah.
I thought you guys were talking about this song when I walked in today. I thought you guys were talking about that song.
Whoa. Oh yeah. The entire we were talking about taxes when you walked in today. We just paid our taxes.
But bro, you guys don't.
That's why it speaks to me so deep, because the entire second verse or third, I don't know, it's about taxes.
Yeah, the whole thing is about that shit. And I love the story. I think it fits in the album really well. I like the song. I'm just not really putting it on in my car and listening to it. You guys don't. You don't like this?
I do. I thought this was the intro.
No, I do.
No. The intro is just the 2-minute like talking.
Okay, I like Windowpin, Brackets, and KOD.
Okay. Like this shit is hard as fuck. This came on at the beginning and I was like, okay.
No, this is one of them that does have replay value.
I thought this one was very J. Cole in the fact of like, it's slower. I know it's not what everyone wants, like hit-wise replay value, but his hook on it, the beat, this is one that has, even though it's like more low-key, it has replay value to me. Like it's smooth as fuck to me. And it's real, like it's talking about the whole like Instagram, fucking social media phase. It fits the concept of the album. Like, I like this shit a lot.
I gotta say, a lot of these songs sound better in your nice headphones. Maybe I'm not listening in. These are some expensive ass headphones compared to what I'm listening. J. Cole makes music for expensive headphones.
Right. And then how he flows over this, like he didn't just do the J. Cole storytelling, his go-to, like.
Damn, I love your sense of humor.
Yeah.
And then what? There's some part I don't remember the part. But yeah, he goes into
sublime. Your type is hard to define. You can turn water to wine, yeah. You can turn water to wine. Feel me? Niggas be talking so slick. I'm not the nigga.
Like, it's not the flow you expect from J. Cole, but I think he kills it. And it's got the trap drums in there, like, which he doesn't normally do.
Yeah.
It's more this day and age beats to me.
Yeah.
I even think a song like this, like, it's not what you typically hear from J. Cole, but it's hard to me.
Which one is this?
This is Motivate.
Yeah, that was another one that I liked.
I like the intro.
The
Well, no, I mean, the,
Oh, yeah.
All the shit I seen her made my blood, nigga.
Yeah.
Are we on monetize yet?
does this one have that?
Okay, sweet. So we can play all the stuff we want.
Does this one have that Kill Edward guy on it?
Please don't
He's
hit my
great.
phone if it ain't
That guy's
about no
great.
commas. Keep the peace
No,
like
yeah.
that. I'm a big body hummer.
That's on
Backing out the
Cut
parking
Off
spot
and
and go to
But to me,
lobby
this is
on
like, these are the type of tracks like this, KOD, ATM.
I discounted KOD. I thought that was. I mean, I do like KOD.
And these are kind of the tracks that I feel like J. Cole has missed sometimes with his not hitting on the commercial, getting everyone to fuck with J. Cole. Like,
Yeah.
this just like the ATM. You didn't like the ATM joint?
The video was insane. Oh, by the way, I think the concept of this album, the art is his. I mean, for whatever this matters, by far his best album art. And then, did you see the ATM video?
Yeah.
The video was his dopest video.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm trying to think of. Well, actually, before this, I really like the GOMD video, kind of like the Plantation Uprising thing. But this video was insane, and I really like this. But I don't know. They were playing it like I was watching playoffs like all weekend, NBA playoffs, and they were playing this as like the hype up song, and I was like, man, am I really count it? Like count.
You prefer the tax season.
Like the count for Sesame Street. Count it up, guys.
Joel wants the opposite. He doesn't like to count it up. He wants the Uncle Sam's taking all my money.
Count what, J. Cole?
I know. I don't know.
To me, he just hit KOD, ATM, Motivate, filled he had, to me, the bangers. Like the shit that you can, like you said, they're getting played during NBA playoffs.
What do you think of 1985? That was the most hyped up song coming out. He did a listening party in New York and a listening party in London, and they were filming people coming out of that listening party, and everyone said 1985 is the best. 1985 is banger. I love you talking about 1985. I was thinking, oh my god, this is going to be his biggest song.
Yeah, I like it. I didn't hear all that before, and I'm glad I didn't.
Because now I'm upset I did.
I just heard it on the album, and I thought it was dope where he placed it, how he did it, and I didn't think of it going in like, okay, this is gonna be whatever, because it isn't like the beat is super basic. He might as well just be saying this shit a cappella.
Yeah, that might be the basis of my criticism.
Yeah.
I thought 1985 was about to be his masterwork or something. The way people are talking about it, and I just think of it as like punching down. Like, what would Kendrick ever address Lil Pump? Like, what would who would address Lil Pump? Like, I don't. As much as I love J. Cole, he let Nas down, and I feel like J. Cole thinks about his criticisms more than some of these other guys, which is fine. I think you can be creative with that. You can do stuff with it, but I mean, Lil Pump is a 17-year-old, and this should be obvious that most artists are not going to be popular for more than a couple of years. If you go back and look at what was popping in 2012 or 2013, tell me how many of those people are still relevant. J. Cole's one of them.
Yeah. I mean, one thing
Credit
though,
to him.
I don't know if you're aware of, is in that area of hip hop today, like the younger whatever, J. Cole, his name has literally been used as like a punching bag, where Kendrick has not. Like, just to say, why is he addressing this shit, is the young guys equate a lot of them equate the conscious grown whatever hip hop with J. Cole, and they use his name. Like, they've used his name before, and I can't think of exactly who, but I've heard it before.
Well, Lil Pump has for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've seen him do it.
But he's not. All I'm saying is he's not the only one.
I didn't know he wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it changes my opinion, because J. Cole, well, first of all, I don't know why they specifically use J. Cole when J. Cole sells like Kendrick. I mean, J. Cole is one of the best selling. When I'm talking about J. Cole, I'm talking about him amongst his peers in terms of sales and fandom.
Yeah.
I mean, how else would you gauge fandom other than sales? And I mean, he's never had a single like Gucci. Do you know what J. Cole's best-selling single is?
No.
It's Deja Vu off of For Your Eyes.
Is it? That's so annoying.
I literally thought it was going to be something off Sideline Story.
That's so annoying.
I looked straight on Billboard. It's like two things. It's two things off For Your Eyes only. It's Deja Vu, then Immortal. I don't know. Maybe something off KOD has charted higher, but I was kind of shocked just seeing how well J. Cole sells in terms of albums, and he's I mean, I don't know if he's had a single that has like a quarter of the sales of Gucci Gang. I'm wondering. I'm trying to even. I can't remember what Deja Vu said, but then at the same time, it's like I kind of don't understand a lot of the criticisms of J. Cole, other than that boring thing, I guess, to a degree, especially with For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
and he is. I can and this
his
is coming
peers
from a
are
big.
Kendrick.
This is coming from a big J. Cole fan, but I can see, and I think why this is why some of the younger artists differentiate between a J. Cole and a Kendrick or something like that is J. Cole can definitely come across. I mean, look, he just made a whole album about like. He can come across as preachy.
Yeah, I'll show you preachy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He can come across as preachy, where Kendrick, I think, can address things, but come across in a just cooler way, like a more relatable way, whereas J. Cole can come off like a little holier than thou.
Yeah.
It's hard to sneak.
Preachy.
Yeah, it's hard to, and that's my thing. It's hard to sneak the medicine into the candy.
Yes.
And that Kendrick probably does that as good as anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, even his socially conscious. I mean, To Pimp a Butterfly definitely his most socially conscious album, but it's also highly critically regarded because it's super socially conscious, but also a lot of good songs on it. And I feel the same way as you do. I don't like To Pimp a Butterfly. I don't like a lot of singles off of it. I think Damn is my favorite Kendrick Lamar album.
Yeah.
But
Dude, I'm still thrown off that Deja Vu is his high. Like no
I
role
know.
models.
No, well, that's. I think no more. You could look it up on Billboard right now. I mean, that's why you guys got your computers out. I wanted to talk about this. You can't handle the truth. It was. I was thinking it was going to be "Crooked Smile" or one of his Sideline Story songs. I don't know if they count.
Yeah, if it was recent, like
it must be, because didn't they start counting Billboard stuff differently in terms of like
Maybe.
Spotify?
Yeah.
So I don't know if he can count some of that stuff.
maybe that's what it is.
But
it
that's
was
still
strange.
that's still
Okay, this
crazy.
was never
to
mind.
me.
This was 2016. I gotta look up something because Workout was the top one at that point.
That's
Workout's
crazy to
still
me.
up there.
If that's true, that's crazy to me.
That's annoying that Workout and Deja Vu are like two of the top because
I know.
it's the ones that are heavily sampled and used that from stuff people have heard already.
Yeah.
He does do some interesting sampling.
Yeah.
He samples some more recent stuff.
Did you hear like you heard the backstory on Deja Vu, right? Like that he didn't that he had that in the chamber before the Bryson Tiller shit.
Yeah, because he and I don't know if did they get into a legal dispute over it, or his lawyers?
I don't know if there
Bryson's
I don't know if there was or
something.
not.
Yeah, Deja Vu.
Deja Vu. The beat he used on Deja Vu is like the whore of all rap beats. I've heard that on like
I know.
You guys have used that Charles
I
Hamilton,
know.
Bryson Tiller.
That's
Yeah,
J. Cole.
that
It's probably-
sample.
That sample is whoever owns that sample.
That sample has been used so many times.
I think I looked up the origins of the sample. I think it's a '98 song or something.
So Mo, we haven't had your opinion on a lot of this J. Cole stuff.
So the more that I think about it, the more it's like I think I finally understand my J. Cole thoughts. Hearing you guys talk about it.
You're welcome.
Well, here's my deal with J. Cole, and I think the reason why he's like, I like him a lot, but the reason why I can't like fully hop on the bandwagon is because I like how rugged he has become. Like Sideline Story was kind of like, it felt to me like what you were saying, like
This
his
is most commercial album.
yeah, super commercial. He was trying to make an album that would have radio hits on it. Like that's what it sounded
I agree
like to
with
me. I have grown to like rugged Cole, him producing his stuff, very like raw type of stuff, and preachy Cole. Like I actually see value in that, and I like listening to it. But that's totally separate to me from replay value as far as Forest Hills Drive was the only album that I've heard from Cole that gave me everything that I liked in one package, where you can hear aspects of commercially sounding beats with him actually spitting some stuff of substance and having me want to replay that instead of it being all the way one way or all the way another way. That's what I liked about that project.
Well, that's the reason I like Forest Hills Drive too. Is I thought overall it has everything. It has J. Cole's storytelling. It's got some of the older J. Cole, more like piano type beats. It also has the full big production beats, catchy like like GOMD and like some of those Tale
Squad.
of Two Cities, Fire Squad. Like, it's got everything. That's why it's that's my favorite. And I think the main criticism that I can stomach with this J. Cole album, KOD, is actually a lot of what Joel was pointing to. If you don't like it, it's different production to me. It's way more trap production.
Yeah.
And if you don't like, if you're not looking for that from J. Cole, which I know a lot of J. Cole fans wouldn't be, I can understand that criticism. Other than that, though, just me personally, if you're talking about replay value and stuff, like, if you can accept the trap drums, I love this. Like, I'm replaying a ton of
That's
it.
why I wanted that's why I wanted to default to some of your guys' criticism about the technical stuff, because I can't figure out why I almost sonically don't like it.
But I know what you're talking about, Joel, as far as like I heard it through the whole album, and that was probably my biggest my biggest problem with KOD was literally that it sounded basic. Like, it sounded to me like it was, but I don't think basic is a bad thing to me.
No.
I think
yeah,
it's
I mean,
like,
if you break down the hits from some of his past projects compared to the hits off of this, if you take if you play the instrumentals, the beats are definitely more basic beats.
but really basic, because I'm not
That's
even
also
talking.
popping these days.
It is to a certain extent, though.
But you try not to expect that from like Kendrick and Cole and
Yes.
like
because I'm thinking about like
I almost wonder if he was trying to do that to make a point about.
well, it goes hand in hand.
That-
It goes hand in hand with the topic he was talking about.
Yeah, sure. Definitely does on 1985, but I don't know. I'm wondering if me liking Damn so much and Nice for What playing on the radio 10 times a day before this album drops makes me rethink my Cole fandom. I'm still a huge fan. I like J. Cole. My list would go Kanye 1, Legacy Spot, Kendrick 2. Hasn't put out a bad album in my opinion. And then I've always had J. Cole 3. And depending on what Drake puts out next, I might place Drake a little bit higher. Just because Drake is, it's like he just hit 4 home runs in a row with like Diplomatic Community. God's man. Nice for What is insane.
I'm Drake 1 for sure.
yeah, I'm Drake 1 too.
I've always been lower on Drake.
Here's an example of what I'm trying to talk about with the beats, though, Packy, is the bottom line is, like, to me, when I, like, Tale of Two Cities, when I hear this beat, this is a basic beat, but it's done in a way that is, like, it feels more commercial to me. Like, even the sample that's used in it and stuff like that, it feels fuller, it feels like it was
fuller.
But that's the thing is, like, this basic beat compared to ATM, like, there's not much to like, it's literally like,
Play it, yeah.
here. So,
Count it up, count it, count it up, count
you
it
see
up,
what I'm saying?
count it up, count it.
so that, I guess that's what I'm saying is I've been hearing more and more from, like, that's the problem that I have when I hear a lot of J. Cole shit, is that like Born Sinner was kind of the same way with me, as far as, like, there were the full beats in it, but it wasn't all concisive. It was like he splattered some in there, and then the rest of it was him going over, like, his typical, like, basic ass shit.
And I'm kind of curious what his goals are as an artist going forward, because to me, he has self-produced his best album. To me, I really like Born Sinner. I know, but even if you don't want to say it's Born Sinner, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to say it's 2014 Forest Hills Drive. So what is he going to? Is he going to self-produce his second best album now? I mean, does he think he has something better in terms of production, in terms of spitting?
That's a good question.
Because that's why people collaborate. I mean, that's why Kanye brought in more than anyone for My Beautiful Dark Twisted, or more than ever before for My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and Jay-Z has had to reinvent himself 7 times. I mean, when you move forward as an artist, I feel like you should be looking outside of yourself, and if he doesn't feel like doing that, I mean, more power to him, more credit to him. I will definitely rank him up because of what he's trying to do. I think the degree of difficulty is higher, but I'm just a little.
That's an interesting question, because I do think obviously he feels like he has more he wants to do and get off his chest himself, that he wants to just execute and not have anyone else fuck it up. And But that being said, one thing I will give on J. Cole recently, I liked early J. Cole the way he told stories, but it was more like he also told his own stories. He told other stories, but he did them more in a way that you felt like it was almost his story, even though you knew it wasn't too. Like some of his early mixtape stuff. And then Born Sinner was obviously very personal. Some stuff off Cold World. I even get that vibe off Forest Hills Drive. And that's why I like it. For Your Eyes Only and KOD literally both feel like he's talking from someone else's
someone
For Your Eyes Only is literally
because of that.
someone
Yeah.
else's
And then
perspective,
and I was like, okay, that's its own thing. I wasn't like the biggest fan of that. Then he came back with KOD.
Concept album.
And it's a very concise concept, and it's also a lot of it is him talking from like this young drug addict hip hop person's perspective.
Yeah.
And I think people these days fall in love with artists because of who they are and how they can tell their story and stuff like that. And even though J. Cole does this one in a cool way, which is why I like it, it's not just let me rap from this person's perspective. He's rapping from his perspective too and telling cool stories within it.
Right.
And he relates it in a really cool way to me. But I am missing the just personal J. Cole stories. But also, I run into this myself too. You've written so fucking much. How much more can you tell without just talking about like the topics you want to talk about now?
He's been in it for over 10 years now. And that's, like I said, for me, especially with albums, first impressions are rarely lasting impressions. So I'll be interested to see what I think about the album a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, because, like you said, I really thematically do appreciate what he's talking about, especially with where we are in music. If you look at some of the young up-and-coming rappers, I certainly don't have a lot of hope for humanity, but I'm also getting older. So that's when you get older, you don't like some of that stuff. But I mean, when we have like Lil Xan named after a drug and all of this this popping off on SoundCloud, I appreciate the message, but to me, I personally wasn't super hooked by anything, and if the music, but a lot of people seem to like the album. So I mean,
I haven't looked at any reaction. Like I was gone over the weekend.
Positive.
I didn't. Is it
from what I've seen on Twitter? Yeah, because I'll just look at because that I'm trying to justify to myself why is this not. I consider myself to be a very big J. Cole fan, and why is it not connecting with me?
You guys didn't like Kevin's Heart?
Yep, that was another one that I
thought
had.
that was so cool.
Yeah, but I guess that's the other
one that I liked because it was like Photograph when I played it. It's smooth. It's got a smooth, catchy hook, but it's got those trap drums, and he comes in with like a more trappy flow that you don't expect from J. Cole, but it works to me because I would be the first one to be like, no, he's trying to do something else.
Yeah,
but like how he comes in with his flow here.
According to Kevin Hart on Instagram, he likes Kevin's Heart.
What'd you say? He likes Kevin's Heart.
Yeah, Kevin Hart said he liked the whole album.
Nice.
It's like he didn't like the one that kind of spoke about you cheating on your wife.
Like this shit is smooth to me.
I mean, it's smooth. I mean,
it's
I'm not
smooth,
say
but
it has replay value.
That's
to me.
rough.
It has replay value to me.
Yeah, but I guess that's why I struggle though, like grading it so early is because a lot of these, like I listen to a lot of shit and it's like, yeah, I'll play them for like a couple weeks and then it goes out. But like for a lot of Forest Hill Drive songs have stayed with me.
But I'm not arguing Forest Hills Drive. That's my favorite.
But that's what I'm trying to compare it. I'm trying to when I
you
say
need to step
replay,
out of that box though.
But when I say replay value, that's what I'm saying is it's like, yeah, okay, like it's new, so it's something that I like to listen to for
that's true.
a couple weeks.
And I get, it does need you need to go through the test of time to see it. Maybe in summer it's like a hot day. I'll be like, I'd really like to listen to some KOD today.
Right. But that's my whole J. Cole problem is like, and that's why I can't say that I'm like a huge fan of J. Cole is because I like him a lot. When a new project comes out, I'll listen to it for weeks, but he quickly goes out of my playlist most of the time.
You know what part of that is though too? J. Cole insists, and I'm not saying this is the issue, it's just part of it. He insists on being an album artist.
That's
you
fine.
never hear singles from J. Cole.
Yeah, that's fine.
This day and age, and I know you and I have even talked about it, and we have fallen into it just like the natural consumer. If you put out, like, if he picks any of these and puts them out as singles, they're more likely in your rotation than when he just drops this whole album and you got to pick a few.
Yeah.
And he insists on being an album artist. Like then you got Drake on the other hand, who, you know, do you like Nice for What?
It's I don't know if it is probably my favorite song Drake's ever made.
Okay, so maybe you're not the best person to ask because I've heard mixed reviews on Nice for What. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it, but it doesn't blow me away. Like I would never say it's maybe my favorite Drake song.
Not lyrically, but in terms of
but just how you like it. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying to me that if that's on a Drake album, it's just like another song. But now it's this massive #1 charting song, and like I said, maybe you're not like you would think that it would do that like regardless because you like it that much. Yeah. I think a lot of people you would ask, it wouldn't do those numbers if I think being singles has a lot to do with the success of songs.
I don't think you can really compare that though to like a song like KOD or like really anything other than ATM.
But like ATM, okay, take this for example. Not you like ATM, but it wasn't like one of the couple that you mentioned with replay value. Imagine if J. Cole out of nowhere drops that with the video, not the album. He just drops that. I think people are going crazy.
Yeah, they
I think
are.
like it's. I think it's a lot of people's favorite songs. I think it's in rotation all the time. Like I bet you Joel has that shit in rotation now that he hears the album. And if you had to make a separate playlist, it's not in there for you.
Yeah.
I just think that's how the singles and albums things is working these days.
Maybe, but I mean, it is in my playlist and everything like that. Like I went through and added it because that's just the way I listen to Cole because I know that he's an album artist. So it's just kind of like you have to be prepared in order to do that.
That is an interesting point. You almost have to come into it from a different perspective. I want because you can't go into an alternate universe where it is suddenly a single, but I don't know. I haven't thought of it like that.
Yeah, I mean,
and you shouldn't. And don't get me wrong, you shouldn't have to. Like that's up to the artist if he is deciding to roll his shit out as albums. If he wants people to digest it like they would a single, then he has to put them out as singles. Right. Like that's just how it is.
Right.
I'm just saying it does give a natural tendency to not give a song, you know, the props that it might get. Not even props like you would like it more if you didn't. It's just you would listen to it more.
I do like what he does as an artist, and I think big artists are really smart about this, especially Beyonce and maybe Jay-Z even more now in this day and age. He is less exposed to a lot of, especially younger artists, but they're all over social media. You see them everywhere constantly. It's even Kendrick. One of my knocks on Kendrick is how many features do you need to do, my dude? I mean, they must pay so well. I can't.
I bet they do.
Yeah, I can't knock on him for making that much money, but it's like you rarely hear a J. Cole feature. So when he puts out something, it's authentically him. It's how he's feeling in that moment, and you haven't heard anything from him since his last album. And I think there's value in that, and I do think that is a cool thing.
I think that's good and bad because I love it as a Cole fan. Like you don't hear from Cole till he's ready for you to hear from him, and then but that also, to me, it builds the expectation and pressure because you don't know what's coming out. And then like a For Your Eyes Only, for example, I haven't heard from you in a year. You're coming out with this album, and it's just this 10 tracks from some other perspective. Like, oh, that's what you had to tell us this year? Okay, then we got to wait till next year.
Right.
And then you give us 10 songs or 12 songs about like these kids on drugs, and it's very cool. But that's all you had to tell us this year?
Yeah. No, I know.
So I like it and I don't at the same time because, and I think it's Cole's gift and curse, honestly. It's part of the reason why he has the mystique and success that he has, but it's also maybe part of the reason why he's not even bigger.
I kind of thought 1985 before I heard it, just because I was watching those videos of people going out of the listening party. I thought it was going to be about like socially and politically what is happening, because I know, and I remember Chuck D of Public Enemy, this was a knock on J. Cole. He said in an interview, like I say, I believe J. Cole listens to his criticism more than other artists. Chuck's knock on him was he is really socially conscious outside of music, and then inside of, like in music he constantly talks about like having sex with women. Like some of his he constantly dropping lines about women and a lot of the stuff, which is, I mean, it's clearly just on his mind.
I think that's something J. Cole struggles with too, because and I think that's why he has to talk from different perspectives and tell stories, is because he is very socially conscious and all this shit. So if he and that's what I try to say in my music too. Like I might make a song about like drinking a bunch of fucking alcohol and whatever, just acting a fool. then I might make a song that's the complete opposite. But that's just because you are allowed to feel two different ways.
And it doesn't say differently about you as a person to do that.
I think Cole gets caught up in the fact of, I am looked at as this socially conscious whatever person. So now if he wants to make a fucking let loose, spend money, whatever song, he's got to do it in a way that it's like from the other, these kids these days. But it's a dope ass song. But I'm not telling it from my perspective.
To me, ATM is almost like a meta song. To me, ATM is like he's making fun. It's like it's his way of saying this is what dumb music sounds like, but I'm gonna make.
But I also want to make it because it's fire. Yeah. Like I think that's like, but I know this sounds dope, and I want to make it.
I'd rather have him just make the dumb version.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
Like I don't think less of him because
I agree, and I think he's put himself in a little bit of a box that way.
We gotta hop off this J. Cole. How long have we been on the J. Cole topic?
That's all I had to talk about.
I got to get on my Mr. West topic. My Mr.
Oh, okay, get on it.
Mr. West.
Last thing on J. Cole real quick, because it goes off what we just said. On the front of his album, this album is in no way intended to glorify addiction. I think Will Ketchum tweeted something about like, it's funny how these J. Cole fans, like, you got to be so smart to listen to J. Cole to really get his message or whatever, but yet he has to write that on the front of his album cover.
I will say J. Cole has kind of an annoying Twitter fan base. If I had to rank annoying hip hop Twitter fan bases, J. Cole's would be in the top 3.
But yeah,
dude,
as a mega J. Cole.
My last point on J. Cole is there's a reason why Forest Hills Drive was his best selling album first week, because it transcended everything else that he has done. Like it was like it appealed to outside of his core fan base. So everything else hasn't even so close.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what this. I haven't even looked to see the success of this one so far.
His last 3 albums have been platinum, right?
Yeah, Born Sinner was the closest, but it still wasn't even close.
Really?
Yeah. So
it's fire.
But that's the thing is, it's like I can see it because I know like J. Cole fans, I get it. Like I understand. Like I like aspects, and I like listening through J. Cole's albums when they come out because he does give me something different every single time.
Yeah.
But as far as mass appeal goes, I just really don't think that you can argue that like that was the way that all of that shit came to fruition. Is like that was J. Cole being massively produced J. Cole to me. Yeah. Without going the sideline story route.
Right. All right, Joel, what do you got on Mr. West? He's dropping a...
What has he been doing with his time? You got to hear this. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't been paying attention.
Okay.
I kind of drowned Kanye out.
Do you follow him on Twitter?
I do.
Oh, speaking of being drowned, if you followed him on Twitter, you'd be drowned by his tweets.
I know. I do follow him, but I just haven't been on Twitter all weekend.
Okay.
Really,
so he tweets out, I mean, just out of the blue, it was a few days ago.
Oh, actually, I checked that. I unfollowed him.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this week would be if you were following him, you know this week.
Okay.
He tweets out that he's coming out with a 7-song solo album, as well as a collaboration with Kid Cudi called Kids See Ghosts. And then he tweets out that Pusha is coming out in May. A new Pusha T album's coming out in May. New Tiana Taylor in June, as well as Nas June 15th. And he's hand producing all of these albums. The Kid Cudi Kanye album, his solo album, Tiana's album, Pusha, and Nas. He's producing all those albums. I mean, 5 beats a day for 3 summers. He's got to be on 25 beats a day. It feels like
I don't know if I want to be one of these artists.
I know. Yeah. What's Tiana on right now?
I don't know if I want to be one of these artists that he's producing all this other shit for other people.
I mean, no offense to Tiana, but she's got to be getting the hand-me-downs.
Yeah, like if Mo was like, oh, by the way, Packy, I'm also producing for 7 other people, and they're all dropping the same time you are. I would be like,
even if I was Pusha, I would have to know that Nas is getting better beats.
Yeah, I would be like, well, let me hear those beats that they're getting.
Wasn't he working? Like he released Life of Pablo, but wasn't he working on it up until like last? Because he redid Wolves like 3 times. I'm trying to remember when that came out. I'm just thinking like, dude, he has kids. When is he doing all of this?
Okay,
as a mega Kanye fan, I'm worried this stuff is going to be garbage.
That leads to my question.
I'm so excited.
Those dates he said are so soon that you have to believe that it's true, because you couldn't, like, if he said dropping like winter, you'd be like, okay, Kanye, we'll see.
Yeah, in the past he has been very vague about dates, and then he ends up going way later. But he is saying specific dates, which I don't see how at least one of these things
falls to
does not fall through.
Yeah, me too, because that's just so much.
How long has it been since Life of Pablo?
You guys should look it up,
Yeah,
and because that's what I was saying. He was working on the album. He would like take songs back, like he redid Wolves, I believe, twice. It was kind of like a work in progress.
Yeah, no, I remember. I remember that.
2 years ago, February 14th, 2016. It was.
So yeah, I mean, he has been.
Yeah, I guess he's had time.
He's been gone.
And he hasn't really put music out since then, has he?
Maybe collaborated, like
He did
Like a couple verses
Did
on
like
something,
a Pablo
maybe.
tour and had a mental.
But I'm
breakdown.
sure he's.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's been
in Wyoming apparently.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's been co-producing too.
Well, yeah,
without
like
us even knowing.
well, and okay, what did he say in his tweet? Did he just say produced by me? Did he say executive
he
produced?
said-
What did he say?
He said hand producing. What does that mean?
Hand producing.
That means no instruments, just
Is that
just hands.
is that like handmade?
Get the ukulele in the studio.
Yeah.
Kanye's playing ukulele in the microphone.
A lot of claps.
Hook that shit up. I'm feeling island vibes.
Yeah. I don't know, but that could also be a cheat code. Like, I am producing these people's albums. I am working on production on these people's albums, but I have 10 other people helping me.
Can I hit you with some Kanye tweets?
Yes,
See how
yes,
you feel?
continue, yeah.
I want to show you where his mind's at. Think about how
Yeah.
fire this new album's going to be.
Yeah.
If you want to see the true character of person, watch the way they treat someone who can't do anything for them. That's
I mean, very true, but has Kanye always lived by that?
moving on. Cars have 4 wheels. Hoodies have hoods. It's amusing to me when someone says this is an original hoodie. Bro, it's a hoodie.
Deep.
The thought police want to suppress freedom of thought. We have freedom of speech, but not freedom of thought. Hit the bomb. Hit the.
Do you have the bomb?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Wait. Say that again.
This is actually 2 tweets, but I favored it
okay.
back to back,
Okay,
so
gotcha.
I think they work better as a unit.
Okay.
The thought police want to suppress freedom of thought. We have freedom of speech, but not freedom of thought.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we have freedom of thought. Do we not? I'm pretty sure I'm free to think anything I want to think.
You think you're free to think, but that's what they
Stop
want
it.
you to think.
Stop it.
Listen to
Now,
this.
how you
Listen to
fooling
this
with
guy.
that wet shit?
This guy took way too many drugs.
And then he tweeted only free thinkers, which I also favorited. I don't know what that means. And then yesterday he said, I really love my Tesla. I'm in the future. Thank you, Elon. I heard these are really good for the environment. I'm supercharged, about to take this whole thing to Mars. This is the funnest car I've ever driven.
Dope.
So that's what he's on right now.
Dude, what the fuck?
I saw.
Are you excited for anything, Kanye? Or are you just kind of like, oh,
No,
I
I am.
don't know what this guy's up to.
I'm always excited for Kanye. I also know for a fact that like he does this shit to sell records.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's no coincidence that every time you have something to sell us, you pop back up and start acting a fool. Not that like cool. People buy into it and you sell records because of it. So keep doing your thing. But it's just funny. Like I saw Jamel Hill, and I don't necessarily love Jamel Hill, but she tweeted, she goes, Kanye, let's be less, because I think this is something he was tweeting or whatever. Let's be less concerned with ownership of ideas. It is important that ideas see the light of day, even if you don't get the credit for them. Let's be less concerned with credit awards and external validation. Like that was a Kanye quote. And then she goes, also Kanye.
I am the #1 most impactful artist of our generation. I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney,
I am Steve Jobs.
Nike, Google. Now who's gonna be the Medici family and stand up and let me create more? Or do you want to marginalize me till I'm
Who's
out
gonna
of my
let me
moment?
create more?
Empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself.
How, Sway?
How? Why don't you empower yourself? Do it yourself. How?
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
Kanye.
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the...
So yeah, I mean, everyone reserves the right to change and change their mind, but like, let's not act like you're just the smartest, most enlightened person in the world.
I can understand. Well, you guys were talking about Tiger Woods and how you can understand how people don't like Tiger Woods, but you just like to watch him golf. Like
Yeah.
I just like to listen to Kanye
Yes.
music, but I do appreciate the spectacle and the hypocrisy, what that lends to the music, because it's kind of weird to say, but I feel like to be truly great at something, I mean, people that are great at things are usually psychopaths. I mean, Michael Jordan, from all accounts, is not the best person to hang out with in a social environment. I mean, a lot of the great musicians are quote unquote tortured souls, or I mean, I really think he is out there. His brain is not in this universe.
No, it's not.
And I don't know if that's not a compliment or a
just is what
diss
it
to
is.
him. It is what he is who he is.
Yeah, and artist wise, I do think that was just funny. That's why I played it. But
It is hilarious.
because I think it's tough to go at artists and say you're hypocritical if they're not standing by everything they said in the past. Because you ask artists to put everything they go through and feel and think out there, and then if they change their mind and think differently, then they're a hypocrite. That's not true. But if they said, no, I still believe that, and I believe, then they're just weird. But if I said something 2 years ago and I changed my mind and was talking about the complete opposite today, people could be like, oh, he's a hypocrite. But I'm just like, no, I changed my mind.
But I think that's what fame does to a lot of people, though, is it's like it starts to be harder to be grounded more and more when you get that big. So these artists just become insane. Like, because they're literally just bombarded with all of this shit that I don't even know how some of these guys handle all of the shit that they have to deal with on a regular basis. Like, how are you a normal person with all of that shit?
Well, I think that's why more and more you see a lot of the big artists just kind of go underground, like a J. Cole and stuff. Like, you pop up when you need to sell your albums, you do whatever. Even like Kanye hasn't put out an album in 2 years. You don't hear a ton from Kanye like you maybe used to. Kendrick, you don't like he'll do features and stuff musically, but he doesn't just. None of these guys are doing interviews.
None of the big
like you
guys
used to have to do.
Yeah.
Like when have you really seen like J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, Kanye interviews? It's rare.
Jay-Z is the best example.
Yeah.
I feel like 2000 Jay-Z is on Twitter if Twitter's a thing in 2000, but not 2000.
But the younger guys are taking notes from what Jay-Z is making popular now. Is just like you kind of have to remove yourself
once you can. Yeah.
Once you can.
Yeah.
Can I show you what Yeezy's working on?
I saw-
Do you see the Yeezy slides? The blue. This is
that real or is that a joke?
No, that he said Yeezy's.
Yeah, I know. He tweeted
said it's
it.
a rough draft. To be.
Because the only reason I saw that is it popped up on my Twitter feed and said these look like Scooby snacks.
But dude, the stock of Adidas has gone up so significantly because of. I think he makes some very ugly clothing and shoes sometimes, but I don't know. He's just an enigma.
Yeah,
interesting. One of the more interesting personalities in media. But yeah, I do think, and I mean, about the hypocrisy point. I don't think it's a bad thing to be a hypocrite. I think all people are hypocrites.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost
no,
like,
for sure.
It's like I hate when people this person's not genuine. This person is like, is anyone genuine? Like, look within yourself. Don't. Throw,
well, right.
don't
Honestly,
throw
being
stones.
more genuine a lot of times is just saying how you feel at the moment rather than just keeping everything in and no one knowing.
Well, then you're past your J. Cole and Lil Pump hates you.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but that's
credit for that.
That's what I'm even thinking about with Kanye, though, and anybody really in the music industry or doing anything of substance anywhere is you have a come up period where you're literally trying to get on that platform and it literally seems like the world is rooting against you until you actually get there. And then what happens once you get there? Then it's just like you make up excuses in your own head to like, you make up all of this like adversity that you're being surrounded around to keep that fire within you. Because you've already gained all of the stuff that you have been dreaming
your
about.
Your average Joe Schmo fan looks at it like, you're rich and famous, you have nothing to be concerned about. But if you are a special talent and mind and whatever, you never look at it that way.
Yeah.
You look at it like always that next step,
and you
always
need
that
it.
next door to break down.
You
and
need
yes,
it.
you need it to continue, otherwise you get comfortable.
You have to create adversity within yourself. I think it's, I mean, when you already have that much money and fame, it's not like anyone's going to feel bad for you. But as an artist, if you want to keep creating, once you have, like you said, gone through the fires, gone through the battles to get recognition and to get album sales, it's like, okay, what now? What are you fighting against?
Yeah.
You already succeeded. To succeed again is harder to me than to actually succeed. I've experienced that in my own life. I mean, I felt like it was so hard to get 1 million subscribers, and I realized to get 2 million would be the real difficulty, or to sustain success. Because
but Joe Schmo's like, Joe, why are you worried about getting from 1 million to 2 million? You got 1 million, bro. Just that's dope.
But honestly,
yeah,
my inner self says that.
Yeah,
that's why you stop fighting for certain things in it to be a sustained success. There's the 1%, and then there's the 1% of the 1% that think they're terrible within the 1%, and then they
the point is like it's not getting to 2 million. It's sustaining what you already have.
It's hard.
As a natural effect of sustaining what you already have, you're going to grow regardless because you're doing something that people are interested in.
If you're making the efforts to sustain,
right?
Yeah, rather than like I got here.
That's the problem though. Is it's just like you have to create something within yourself to make you even want to create the same stuff that you created to get to the point that you're at.
And I don't want to hear what you've already done to make yourself successful. That's one of my most. That's my favorite Jay-Z line is you like my old stuff, buy my old album, because that's truly how I feel as a music fan. It's like I don't want to hear another College Dropout. I don't want to hear another Parlay. I don't want to.
No.
I mean, I don't want to hear any spec music in general.
I think I think that's why Kanye is like way up there in my favorites, is because if I can look at his discography and I can say College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, I love them all, and then you gave me something that sounds like 808s and Heartbreaks, and I love that. And then you gave me My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and I love that. Like, and they're all such different sounding, but they're all super dope. That's impressive.
In order to be that reinventive, though, you have to be a little crazy.
Yeah, agreed.
Like it's just the way.
Someone who had success off College Dropout and Graduation to turn around and make 808s and Heartbreak, you got to be a little.
I mean,
wild.
You probably have to be a lot crazy, honestly.
I did have something I want to mention that kind of ties the J. Cole thing and the Kanye thing together as a larger topic. Do you think that cosigns matter to be the best hip-hop artist? You need to be cosigned by something else. Let me give you my line of thought. Hip-hop has been around for a while, but it especially rose to popularity in the 90s. So you have people that came up in the 90s, like Dr. Dre on the West Coast and, Death Row. And then you have people on the East Coast like Jay-Z come to popularity. So some of those people are still around for the next generation of hip-hop. You have someone like Jay-Z co-signing Kanye. You have someone like Dr. Dre co-signing Kendrick Lamar. You have someone like Birdman, who became popular in the South, co-signing Lil Wayne, who gets even more popular in the 2000s, arguably probably the most popular hip hop artist in from 2000 to 2010. I mean, he was all over. There's Kanye but yeah,
he went through a period where he was the king. Yeah,
and he co-signs Drake. And if I try to name the three biggest hip hop artists right now, you'd definitely say Drake one, and then Kendrick is up there as well. As a J. Cole fan, in terms of sales, he can put himself up there. But I'm wondering what the next generation of hip-hop is going to look like. Is it going to be a Drake protege? Is it going to be I don't think any, for as much as I like Big Sean and I like and a lot of those people are already older too. I'm wondering, hip-hop is so young, it's not like we have a large sample size, but I'm just wondering, it would be really impressive to me if there was a Drake without there being a Lil Wayne first. You know what I mean? I'm wondering if you can get to this pinnacle. I mean, like the Mount Rushmore of hip hop at the current time, if you can hold a heavyweight belt when so few can without
my opinion of that is that was a sign of the times, and I feel like Drake and Kendrick Lamar and Big Sean were kind of at like the end of that. Because of the way that the music industry has just evolved to the point where look at how many hip-hop artists we have, without...
Yeah, look up a list of, best rappers under the age of 30 or something, and just, if you want to, Google it, and then tell me who the next one is. Tell me who's going to transcend out of that list.
I don't see
anyone.
I think we're thinking about it the wrong way, though. I don't think that mindset is going to happen anymore, because there's so many. You can have so many.
Okay, let's look though. Let's literally look right now.
When I talk about them, I do talk about them in terms of sales, because they're transcended, as in they're thought of as the greatest hip hoppers, but they're also Drake is one of the greatest artists.
But let me give you one, especially if you're just talking sales. Where does Logic fall? Logic sells shit tons of records.
Yeah, Logic does.
He didn't have a big. He has no cosigns.
That is a good example But
to me, that's the point that I'm trying to make, though, is Logic is the new wave of
Russ would
Russ,
be another one.
Another one. Yes. Like this day and age, you need, it's not, okay, here's something to blow your mind. You don't need the hip hop cosign. You need the social media cosign. So you need your who what was the Kardashian that Snapchatted Russ's shit to like
Kylie?
Yep. That was the point that Russ really like shot up. That no one talks about.
Really though?
Yes.
I want to see Russ's album sales.
Yes.
Is he getting? Are you guys giving
He
him
was
too much-
popular,
How
but
much
he
is-
wasn't selling out venues like
His
he's
album
doing
went
now.
platinum.
There's really a wolf on platinum.
They would love to tell the story that Russ just came up by himself to like be
I'm not
this-
saying that. I'm just saying though, like if you look at anyone that gets an album that goes platinum, you're going to be able to look at
no
multiple things.
I'm not taking away from him sustaining that because that's something that you need to do.
Is he still around in 5 years? I mean, Logic.
I think so,
Logic
because-
Logic is a good example because he's been around for a little bit.
I think Russ will be Logic, and from a standpoint of being able to stick around with a cult following.
But how did Logic come up though?
YouTube.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but that's what I'm. Yeah, so I guess if you're saying that, if that's your definition of social media cosign,
No. But he had a lot of like big gamers playing his shit on YouTube and got him a shit ton of attention. In the age where YouTube was, when we were doing our stuff.
It's also a tough discussion because I think naturally when you get bigger and you get to a certain point, you're gonna get people that co-sign you, and what are you gonna say? No, don't co-sign me. So it's like you even look at someone like Chance who got huge on his own. No, I mean, no one got huge on their own, but then like you would say no necessarily like huge cosigns, and then all of a sudden he's being co-signed by everybody, and it's like, is it the cosigns that made him huge?
It was the
or-
blog cosign.
He's the
Right.
one. He's the one under 30 who I think of in 2-3 years can be Drake level. And I get Logic is an example I didn't think of that I think is a good thought. That's a good example
But
of someone who didn't get a cosign.
Logic-
That's this generation of hip hop.
Logic is an interesting example though, because the reason I brought him up is because you said sales, which I agree. That's the biggest. But at the end of the day, I don't think Logic will ever be able to in hip hop be Drake, Kanye, whatever, because he is just not accepted by he is not embraced by rap that way.
I don't think Russ is either.
I don't think he is either.
He's not.
Russ, for how young Russ is and how little I've known of Russ, he has gone from in the time that I follow him, I don't claim to be a huge, like I don't follow the blogs and stuff like that as much as I used to in the early 2000s and early 2010s and stuff. But Russ, it was like, this is a cool independent artist. And then when I see the opinions of him, it's like, fuck Russ.
Yeah. But honestly,
has it been a year since?
I think that's what's so interesting to me is like, you look around and like you said, you got your staples like your Big Sean, your J. Cole, your Drake, your Wiz, all those guys from that era that you think of like big time, can sell records, all this stuff. Then you look at like the popular people that are embraced by hip hop right now, and maybe they're selling records now, but you don't imagine them sticking around like a Migos, Cardi B, like.
I would be shocked if Cardi B was a thing in 5 years.
Right. But she's selling
G-Eazy?
hella records now. She's embraced by hip hop.
Yes.
G-Eazy?
As far as the list we were talking about before.
Like as far as like somebody that is he's accepted by the hip hop world.
Yeah.
Like, and he's selling a lot of records.
That's a good name. He could be the only one right now. Although didn't his last album not do amazing?
It didn't do amazing, but it did well.
He could be the only one right now that I would say I could see him being around a while. He's got a big fan base and sells records, and he's actually embraced by most of hip hop.
That's a good Venn diagram to be in, the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like embraced by hip hop,
Sell records.
and this little
Gonna be around.
gonna be
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
little in the middle.
Because I look at Logic like gonna be around, sells a lot of records, which are the two most important. I'd rather have those two than be embraced by hip hop.
Yes,
like,
okay.
Yeah.
but
I would agree.
But I don't think he is embraced by hip hop.
No.
Like I think Macklemore had those other two.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't necessarily say they'd be around a while. He was
No.
more, but he had the, you know, he sold the records and he did his thing.
I don't think he makes the type of music that'll be able to
But then
stay
I look
around.
at like, that's why it makes me wonder, is hip hop just going in a different direction? Because I look at like Migos, Cardi B,
Well-
Lil Uzi, Yachty, all those guys that we just assume are not going to be around a while.
We
right?
haven't even mentioned one of the best-selling current-day hip-hop artists, Post Malone, who I would
Yeah.
argue kind of doesn't even make hip-hop music.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, Post Malone isn't hip hop, dude.
Yeah, if you if not according to Billboard, you look at the charts and tell me.
According to him, though, he's not.
Yeah, look at Rock. Well, yeah, that's true. Look at Rock, but look at Rockstar and tell me he's not.
Yeah.
21. Shouts out to 21 Savage for hopping on.
A lot of
the
white,
biggest tracks.
lot of white guys in that
21. Yeah.
list.
Yeah, it's an interesting era in quote unquote hip hop and then music in general. I think it's blending together.
But do
more.
any
It's
of those-
it was so well defined in the 90s, then it's like the bling era, and then Kanye, you know, some backpack rap.
Well-
and then it's like it's pop and hip hop are fusing together more
Right.
than ever before.
But that's why I think that you had the like the artist cosign that you started this topic on, as far as like the bigger artist cosigns the smaller artists to make them the bigger artist. It's not necessary anymore.
Yeah, it's not necessary. And you always wonder though, even like not so far back as like Kendrick. Yeah, he got co-signed by all those West Coast dudes. If it was just Top Dog though, and like he didn't have Dre and Snoop and Game and all these people co-signing him, does he still get to where he's at?
No.
I don't know.
No.
Like if they hated him, yeah, that'd be a different story. But if they didn't go out and actively promote him and whatever, does
Unless he
still
got
get
the
to-
modern day social media cosign from somebody else.
I think the Dre cosign is huge.
and
Yeah, it
Dre's
is.
I think I can't picture in my head what the production credits are on Good Kid, Mad City, but
Yeah, I don't know
think
either.
that is a hell of a starting album.
But
I know Section 80 was. I don't think Dre was associated with him when he did Section 80, and that was also critically acclaimed. But that's like you said. I wonder what's after Section 80 if you don't get that Dre cosign. It's like, all right, let's make a.
It's a
let's make
harder road.
fucking album.
It's a harder road.
Yeah,
That's an interesting conversation.
It is. It's a much harder
Trying to
road.
think about that. The next, because I would say I think we talked about this on a podcast. Like you put Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick, Big Sean, Wiz. Like that's kind of an era, and you all look at them right now as like pretty big in the game. Like they got their own fucking shit in the game.
Yeah.
And you try to take that to the next generation, and it's an interesting conversation because there's just a lot of guys you don't know. Like we said, I would give Logic one of those for reasons, but he's not embraced in hip hop like all of those other guys are embraced in hip hop.
Yeah.
Russ isn't embraced like that. And then you look at a guy like what about like Travis Scott? How did his albums sell? Like
Yeah, I don't know.
he's embraced throughout hip hop. Everyone loves him. He jumps on everybody's fucking records and shit. I assume he sells really well.
I would assume.
Even Amigos, like super embraced, like whatever. Maybe this is just the new wave of maybe a Travis Scott and Migos. Those guys are actually where hip hop is kind of going right now, and maybe they are. It's not going to be the lyrical guys that are going to
and I
have those
now,
positions.
I think I was listening to you guys talk about this. My concern as a hip hop fan and then as a music fan in general is albums not mattering anymore. And I know I'm part of it when I'm banging singles and then, I'm playing Nice for What 1,000 times. And then I'm like, I don't really love J. Cole's album. But I'd like to live in a world where albums still matter and they can still be transcendent. And maybe they will be, but it's definitely a generation where it's like singles, and I would consider Migos' second album to be, I think you guys were talking about it, it was almost like a money grab, and it's like an album full of, there's so many, there was about 45 songs on the album, and then it kind of is just like a bunch of singles.
And that's what makes me think, Amigos, I like Migos for what they are. It's never my favorite type of music, but I like them for what they are. And like with just their first album out, I would have been like, maybe they'll be a staple in hip hop. Then that second one comes out, and I'm like, maybe they'll be more of a phase. I don't know. It's hard to.
I'm wondering if, because that's what it's almost like. There's singles artists, and then there's like these dudes make the classics.
Yeah.
Can you be one of the dudes that makes? Does Logic have a classic in him? Has he already made his classic? Is it? I feel like Chance has a chance. Chance has a chance to make a better album than his first album. I don't think his first album was crazy. I kind of like having a weaker debut and then go from there. And it's hard to say weak because it's like, especially like J. Cole's album was his debut was well selling, and I almost don't like. I think it's tough when an artist has to work like from. Props to Jay-Z for making. You could argue he's made a better album than Reasonable Doubt, and I mean. But then you have someone like Nas, who's still a staple in hip hop, and Illmatic is probably his best work. It's his first work, so it's, I don't know.
I just thought of this, so maybe I'm completely off base. But tell me if you think there's just like a big difference in hip hop right now between the hard workers and the smart workers. Because to me, I look at like a lot of these singles artists that you look at, they're working their ass off. Like, and I even look at like a Logic, who I wouldn't say he's a singles artist, but he puts out
a lot of music.
He's working. Russ put out a fucking song a week for however long. Like, he's working. He produced, mixed, mastered, engineers. Like, he's working. And then I look at like, we even just talked about, I'm not even putting him in the comparison, but J. Cole puts out an album a year. Like, yeah, he's touring and he's doing, but let's be real. On his music, J. Cole is not working as hard as Logic and Russ are. I don't think. You can't give me 12 songs a year and tell me you're working as hard as these other people.
To me, though, that's what makes what J. Cole does is harder, because if and that's the bar it's measured against. If J. Cole's only putting something out once every 365, 500 days, it better be fucking amazing. Like,
but he got to come into the game at a different time.
Yeah, it is true.
Because I don't think anyone could. I don't want to say anyone, but can you guys name anyone that has come into the game in the last 2 years that is big but doesn't put out a lot of shit?
If I stretch it, Chance, but that's stretched back to a mixtape era.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Chance in there.
Like, I just think this day and age, you really gotta have content and be out there. And it doesn't even. I'm not even saying music necessarily. I'm saying be in the public eye.
It's funny because I think of it like how I think of YouTube too. On YouTube, there's YouTubers that put out a video every day, and then there's some YouTubers that'll put out a video like once a week, once a month, and that the once a week, once a month is so good that it makes enough money and gets enough views to sustain them until the next week or the next month. And it's hard to make a really good video, so a lot of people just do the daily, and I'm always caught between the two because I'm like, well, I'd like to be I think of those people as sophisticated or smart, or like they put out shit that a lot of people agree is amazing, and that's cooler to me because that's cool. It's like everyone agrees that when this person puts this video out, everyone stops everything, they watch this video.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just put on a video daily, it's like, oh, I'm the fucking newspaper.
Right.
Like,
And
some days there's not going to be good news.
I think that's cooler too. That's why I say, is there just a big, hardworking, smart working type of difference there?
You want to know what I think that it is?
What?
I think it's the difference between being able to still have artistic integrity to be able to do those album type of things like J. Cole and everything while still having a big enough team to sustain it.
Yeah. Well, and then I look at like a Kendrick and a Drake, who are the two at the top of the game. They have the best of both worlds. Like you said, Kendrick's doing all these features. Drake's always doing shit, but everyone stops when they do anything.
Yes.
Drake has definitely evolved, probably the best for this era. He was born of the end of another era and has evolved to the best of this era, where he can, I mean, putting out something like If You're Reading This Is Too Late is essentially a mixtape, but he's doing singles around it. And for his album that's come out this summer, he's banging out singles. His name is as relevant as ever, almost 10 years in, maybe more than, I think more than 10 years in, I think.
I mean, I would say for the last like 7 years, he's been the guy at the top.
Yeah.
6 or 7 years.
Well, but
certainly a sustained reign.
Yeah,
at this point,
I guess
that's crazy.
And no sign of slump. I don't see anyone that's taking him right now.
I don't either.
Because you could have said back in 2008, like, all right, I can see some people that are about to pass Lil Wayne.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, and I think Kendrick was maybe on the radar, but I think he is at his peak where like he could continue that peak, but I don't see him jumping Drake until Drake falls off.
Do you not see him jumping Drake? Because going back to like Drake puts out singles in addition to albums, and I don't think Kendrick's ever going to be a singles artist.
I don't either. Like, are you saying is that the reason?
Yeah, if Kendrick was putting out singles that were different and kind of like more,
I think Drake's just too loved in every world, like pop. He's a pop, like he can go make.
Drake can make a lot of different.
Kendrick is still at the end. I think Kendrick may possibly go down as more beloved in hip hop than Drake. But as far as just who is a bigger act, it'll always be Drake to me until Drake falls off.
Drake is the first hip hop artist where you can say he's like the biggest. You could argue that it's like Drake or Taylor Swift for the biggest thing in music.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's thinking inside of my own box as a hip hop fan to say that. Like I think the sales and the relevance back that up.
Yeah,
like Drake is maybe the first hip hop music star. Outside of hip hop.
And I think he has a big hand in,
I guess, Eminem.
Like now hip hop is the biggest genre. I think the fact that Drake covered hip hop from 2010 to 2018 and he brought this massive pop mainstream sound into it, I think you have to give Drake a lot of credit for helping hip hop to get to that top genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta leave in like 15 minutes.
Okay.
You want to close up shop?
Okay. We got a couple questions.
Yeah, let's do the questions. I think we got 3. All right.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Everett. I'm from a small town called Grays Lake, a little bit north of Chicago. And I was just wondering, what's your guys' opinions on, like, when white artists often say that they're restricted by not being able to say the N-word. For example, like Lil Dicky recently with the Freaky Friday. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but he was saying how, you know, if he could use it, and people were like saying that he should be able to. Just like to hear your response and what you guys think about this. Peace.
Absolutely retarded. No white person should be able to use the N-word in like ever. And the fact that anyone would even think that they're restricted by not being able to use the N-word is one of the most absurd things I could think of.
He must have said that as a joke, like a joke lyric.
Yeah. Oh, you talking about Lil Dicky?
Yeah, because that's what he referenced in the question.
Yeah, and I didn't hear any, I don't know if there was an interview or whatever, if he's just talking about the Freaky Friday song. Have you heard that?
I thought I have not heard that, to be honest. I'm not the biggest Lil Dicky fan. He did put out Lil Dicky did do some like someone linked me a song he made like called Russell Westbrook on a Farm, where he was like rapping for like 6 minutes straight, and I was like, well, Lil Dicky has more rap acumen than I thought. But
yeah, I don't really listen to him either, but when he drops a video, I like to watch him because they're pretty creative normally.
Yeah,
I mean, it was in the context of the song though that like
if he's just referring to that song, like he's like the whole song is he's in Chris Brown's body.
Well, my thing is like, I hope that no like white artists would feel that way. If you can't say one word in the dictionary, I don't even know if that word's in the dictionary, but if you can't say one word in the dictionary, and that collapses your whole creativity as an artist, then maybe you should not be an artist. Like if it's such a house of cards that you can't use one word.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's the thing is when Lil Dicky says he doesn't say it, but he insinuated it, like as far as what the lyrics were saying, and Chris Brown is saying it.
Yeah.
So it's not, but the bottom line is I can get why people would like misconstrue what is trying to be presented.
He's a
in the
comedic
song.
artist, though.
That's the problem. Is it's like he's a comedian.
So
like,
you think he's actually referring to like the line in the song?
Because it's the context.
Yeah.
It's being like, oh, I'm white, but I'm in a black dude's body,
so I can say that.
So I can say,
but it's just a comedic.
That's something that a stand-up comedian would get up there and say and be like, if I switch bodies with a black dude.
And I thought in that song like that was fine. I had no problem with it.
No,
Lil Dicky.
But I think other people got sensitive about it because they were like,
no, I have no problem with it in the Lil Dicky song.
I think people get too sensitive.
As far as actually a white person getting on the mic and saying the N-word, no. And the fact that you can't should not be a problem.
Yeah. But I didn't think anything was absurd.
Why do you want to say it?
I don't know.
Like what?
I don't know.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Derek calling you from Columbia, South Carolina. Go Gamecocks. I wanted to ask, do you guys cook? And if so, what's your favorite or your best thing that you make? That was my only question. Thank you.
My best thing that I make is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Joel's in the kitchen a lot, though.
Yeah, I've been into cooking lately. It feels kind of therapeutic to do something more tactile. I was telling Mo that the more I'm on the internet, the less I want to be on the internet. So to spend time reading a recipe. I like to get the good meat. Go to a good butcher. Get some good steak. Get some good ground beef to make. I'm making hamburgers tonight. I'm making some cheeseburgers.
Ooh, yeah.
I got that quality hamburger meat. I got that quality chuck.
Oh yeah.
I mold the chuck with my hands into patties that I form. I decide their size and shape. Got some seafood salad to
Damn.
go to accessorize.
I gotta run to the bathroom.
I made whitefish last night. It was delicious. I love cooking now.
All right,
I think it's cool.
I would like to be able to cook. I just never sit down and actually start learning to do it. But I am looking forward to having a place with a grill because I do like to grill.
It's part of being domesticated too. I think when you get married, your spouse is like cooking a lot. Then they're like, "You cook," and I'm like, "All right, well, I've never been asked to cook, but I will cook."
I'm already getting
like,
that with the girlfriend. Like she cooks
and it's really
all the time,
not
and I'm just like,
complicated.
thanks, I'll do the dishes.
Well, it's so hard when I work from home too because she'll come home like a 12-hour day or something, and she'll be like,
and then you're like, make me dinner.
so what's for dinner? And she's like, the fuck?
Yeah, that's real.
What'd you make?
That's real.
Yeah. But yeah, I need to start cooking more.
Yeah. We'll see if it happens.
I do.
What's up, guys? It's Wyatt from Alabama again.
In the building, always.
This week is the NFL draft. I was just curious what you guys thought about it. Maybe give me what you think your team needs, what you would like your team to do. Who you think might go first overall, and maybe give me some busts and some maybe diamonds in the rough from the draft.
Joel, you got anything?
In your opinion?
Shouts out to
also
all.
Joel.
Oh.
Shout out to you. If it wasn't for your YouTube channel, I would have never
Shouts out me.
discovered the Specktators. Best things ever happened to me. Thanks.
Hell yeah, let's
Thanks,
go.
man.
All right, Wyatt.
Best thing. Well, I appreciate his shouts out. In terms of the draft, first I want to shout out all Detroit area pro sports teams for always falling out of the playoffs, but not getting a high enough draft pick. Watching the NBA playoffs, I'm a 76ers fan now. I'm mad at the Pistons.
Me too.
Because I have two friends that are like Philadelphia natives, and then they're all high in the 76ers. I'm like, man, I wish I had a Ben Simmons looks like a future Hall of Famer.
I'm going to have to bring you on the podcast and just talk sports sometime because I even want to get your opinion on tanking and stuff like that, but I know we don't have time to get into it. It's so worth it if you get Ben Simmons. I could not express my frustration more about specifically NBA, but in terms of the Lions, they're also in a similar position. Pick 20 didn't make the playoffs. I would like, as a Lions fan, a massive Lions fan, I would like to get some defensive line. I feel like we always draft a defensive lineman, and Zig Ansah is good, but they just do not get pressure in there. I feel like their defense brings them down. But then at the same token, if they drafted an offensive lineman, I'm not mad anymore, especially just after enduring Lions drafts over the years. Have the most boring draft possible. Draft 15 offensive linemen drafted. I want the guy's name to be Walter. Like I don't want to know this guy. I don't want to know like I'm so with you.
I don't want him to be like a famous. He's the best offensive lineman in history. Good, get him. Yeah. I don't care. I don't want if people want to run. I mean, an ideal draft to me is like the best rushing defensive lineman possible, and then either like a third or second round. Try to find it like a running back in the rough because I feel like. Some of these running backs that become, I mean, there's some like transcendent ones like Adrian Peterson and Ezekiel Elliott, but the other teams will find like what was it, Kareem Hunt last year,
and Kansas City,
and then there was another one. He has like a longer name. They play for New Orleans.
Kamara.
Yeah. You can find those guys. It's just that we don't find those guys. And I'd rather like take. So, but first I want like a rush, something on the line. Okay. If it's not on the line, I'm frustrated.
Okay. Well, and that's where I'm with you too with the O-line is like, I'm a firm believer that if you have a sick O-line, you're like, let's say Stafford's a top 10 quarterback, he goes to top 5. You have any running back on our roster who's just the definition of average, automatically has a chance to be like 1,000-yard rusher, 100 yards a game.
Yep. Dude, look at the quarterbacks that were in the playoffs last year and tell me what the difference is between the like. You could put a cardboard cutout behind center as long as your offensive line, as long as you have a sick defense and your offensive line can sustain blocking. It's like I don't care. Matt Stafford's the best quarterback. Like you don't need.
Well, and take like if Le'Veon Bell has no line, he can't do like if you can't get through the line, you can't do anything.
Right. If there's no blocking, you can't.
Yeah. Like, and I'm not saying Le'Veon isn't dope. I'm just saying you also have to have a line.
No, you have to.
So yeah, before we start getting these running backs and whatever and trying to like have them save our running game and evaluate if they're a good running back or not, you don't know unless you have an O-line.
Right.
You know what I get a lot from like some people some people who are close to me, the Lions fans, and they'll say opinions that annoy me. They're like, well, we can't win because Matt Stafford's not a good quarterback, and I want to throw some.
Look at like you said, look at the playoff quarterbacks last year.
Good or bad
Carson Wentz won a
matter.
Super Bowl.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
No, Nick Foles did.
Or Nick Foles, I meant.
That's
what I meant.
the point.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
It's like their Super Bowl winning quarterbacks the back, and then on the other side, I mean, it's like who was the other guy? You like got cut by them, and for the Vikings.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on the Lions talk. I think the only other thing I'll say is, as far as all the quarterbacks go, because that's all they talk about, is like who's going to be the top quarterback and all this shit. And you got like Darnold and Rosen and I think Allen,
Baker Mayfield.
I tend to always like be a little wary of not taking the Baker Mayfield in the draft, especially like you see Deshaun Watson last year, like because you get all these guys that get so wrapped up in the analytics and the combine and all this shit, and it's like this guy played college football is tough.
Yeah,
this guy played college football and tore it up. He's got to be all right.
And speaking about busts, I'm not going to act like I know a lot about the NFL and I'm like a scouting expert, but I don't understand the hype around Josh Allen. They say
is he the Wyoming guy?
Yeah, he's the Wyoming guy. They say he's got like a cannon for an arm. If you look at the dude's completion percentages, and who are they playing against at Wyoming? It's like in the NFL, you're playing against the best of the best.
And wasn't he like not even throwing the ball much? Like he'd be like 11 for 20
and they say he has like a complicated offense. It's like, what do you think is in the NFL doing?
Right.
I was like, it's like we take shots at Wyoming. It's like you don't think you're going to take them in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I don't get that shit. Take the guy like. Simplify it. Take the guy that looks fucking dope on film.
That's to me like I'd rather
it's the Darko Milicic factor.
Lose on a guy like Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
don't lose on Josh.
Watch
Allen.
Darko play. Watch Carmelo play. Who do you want?
Don't even. I gotta leave it. I can talk about Pistons drafts for about an hour straight.
All right, we'll do that on a podcast. Maybe an NBA draft's coming up.
Anything else?
Nope. Let's get the hell out of here. Yeah. Cool.
You good?
Yep.
All right.
Good talk.
Yeah. We don't want another white rapper. They don't say it, but they think it. They don't listen to my music. Try not to listen to my demons. Said I wouldn't burn bridges. Still, I never crossed over. You could bet I got the torch with me now, and I'm looking for some closure. Never got signed, never got looks, never got agents, never got booked. No handout, but I never got shook. Smoke a little weed, but I never got hooked. Don't nobody give me shit. Don't nobody tell me shit, though. Everyone think they got a voice now. Don't nobody sound like this, though. Young Pack, grew the fuck up. Left home, blew the fuck up. Thought that I knew what's what. Didn't realize that I still gotta come up. Money don't spend like it used to. No new friends, they'll use you. Everybody wanna be in the studio making hits with me. When I look around, I better